put it on recording. And then today is June 11, 2020. And I will be talking about how to day trade with patterns. My name is Sergey Savastyuk. I have PhD in applied mathematics here in Silicon Valley. I started a few companies, had their good exits, and now Tickeron is one of my companies where, with my love to the mathematics, created artificial intelligence, which allows you and me to use it for the purposes of trading, not only trading, but also investing. So what is the Tickeron? Okay, it's a company which we registered with the Security and Exchange Commission. It's SEC registered company. And what is the difference between registered and not registered? The difference is those who are not registered can tell you pretty much anything they want. Okay, we are under some guidelines with SEC, what we can say, what we cannot say. And that way, we are going to be talking about only those things which we can prove, okay? Yes, okay. I'm getting some questions. Good, guys. Yeah, I'm going to be collecting them. And that way is going to allow me to show you how to use our system, okay? So just for the just for you, and the tip for the other, when you use other websites, okay, just check it out where you get the advice or the trading tips, okay? Go to the general information, the legal information. That's a company, let's say like a Betterment, okay, you would have heard. They do investing. And you have to find Form ADV Part 2. If you find the ADV Part 2, then this company is registered with SEC and FINRA. If they are not, they're going to tell you anything they want, as long as it is not really lie, they cannot be sued, right? There are some companies which cross those lines, and that's kind of one of them, like Online Trading Academy crossed the line and they're being sued by Federal Trade Commission, okay? So that's important to understand. That's a big deal when you get something, okay? Because you really want to find out what algorithms work, what don't, and you know there are a lot of stuff done and traded by algorithms, and that's what we're going to be talking about, okay? So the topic for today, I'm going to be briefly showing you some ideas and kind of gradually, as a professor, I used to teach at Santa Clara University, I'm going to tell you about what is a trading plan, what we mean by odds of trading success, and then I will talk about all the stuff related to the patterns, okay? And I will talk about some scanners we have. So let's kind of define quickly what is a trading plan is. Trading plan is a kind of the ideas you have in your mind, and that's what works for you, and then you know you're kind of going to be sticking with that, right? So imagine like trend goes up, and then you're here, and you believe it's going to continue. We're going to call it trend continue. Some people like trading on a dip, like stock goes up, then down, and then goes up, okay? And then breakout. When you trade with patterns, then it's pretty much trading on breakouts. What it means? It means there is something going on here, right, below that line, and then when it breaks the line, a particular price, and then you buy. And before that, you don't do that, don't buy. Trend reversal, most of the beginners like trend reversal. They really believe they're going to find that point, and that's where they lose the money, because typically in most cases it goes all the way down, okay? So this is a reversal strategy of, this is like a bullish type of plans, this is a bearish type of plans, okay? And in fact, this is a kind of the patterns. And they're very simplistic patterns. I will show you more complicated ones, okay? Let's look at what are the odds of success. Pretty much it is backtesting. But in our case, why we really insisting on odds of success, because whatever statistic we show you in our system, all the statistics about the positive results, okay? We don't give you ideas which have poor results and bad statistics. It doesn't make sense to give you signal with a bad statistic, okay? So what do we mean by that? It means, let's say you have an idea trading on a dip, okay? And you go back, in our case, AI goes back, finds the similar cases, and then looks at that and says, okay, it was up, success, up, down, and all the way down. That means it's a failure. And success, success. If it is 3 out of 4, we say it's 75% of success, okay? That's what we call odds of success. But in fact, it is backtesting. Most of the system you're going to encounter offer you the following. You come up with a strategy, you press the button backtest, and then you're going to figure out it doesn't work, okay? In our case, we pre-calculate statistic for all strategies we have for all stocks overnight, okay? So from that perspective, you don't need to wait with any hour signals with the data about the backtest. We just give it in advance. So our definition is odds of success are the percentage of outcomes which come from successful trade signals in the past, okay? So when you see that, it means we pre-calculated these cases, okay? Let's look at the examples about the crashes, okay? So I've been showing this picture since like March, when there was quite a big dip, and we are somewhere here, okay? And what the history shows, that when there was significant crashes, about 30%, that was a dot-com crash, there was a bounce back. It was not as high as we see today, okay? Then again, it was 2008 crash. It was again bounce, but then all the way down, okay? What people got excited is that it went all the way up. We are somewhere here, and I will show you where we are in the market. But only today, like a little bit of yesterday, signs of going all the way down. So if it's going to hold true, then we pretty much all these big crashes going to have almost 100% odds of success going down, right? So when we say odds of success, it means we believe it's going to go down. It's 80 or 90% going down. That means this is odds of success. Why? Because you guessed that right, okay? So now let's talk about more complicated patterns. There are quite a few of them, and these are examples of the patterns. Let's say this one called head and shoulders. You could have heard about the pattern, and it goes like that. It kind of down, up, again, down, and up, right? So now you see these two shoulders, and this is a head. And it's reversed. But then what we do, we say, okay, if it crosses this particular line, that's the entry point, and then we can calculate for you this target price or the exit point, okay? You would say, okay, yeah, you can find that by your naked eye. Sure, you can, but then can you find for all stocks this, or this, okay, or this, okay? So this is all head and shoulders. They just have different shapes, okay? So what AI does, it goes to the market, and for the day traders, find the patterns like that. We have 37 patterns like that, and we identify them pretty much every minute for different time intervals. And then we say, okay, there is a theory and there's a backtesting. So AI goes back to the history, finds the similar patterns, and says, oh, okay, these patterns worked well for this particular stock. And that's what we call it odds of success or statistics. And then we calculate the confidence level, okay? So let's look at the system, what we have. Okay, this is a system after login, and as you can see on the right, we have almost 7% Dow Jones went down, 6% S&P, 5% Nasdaq, and almost 7.5% Russell 2000. Okay, and that's a sign of a test of the stock market preparing to test the bottom one more time, and that's going to happen. And we will see what's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow might be a small bounce back, but there are several not definitions, kind of a school of thoughts why it went so high up, because people didn't work. Number of accounts of day traders grew up significantly. People put the money in, and now what I see on the Facebook, a lot of people lost the money. Okay, but the good thing is that if you day trade, then you can get out of the position at the end of the day with a small loss, and you start the next day tomorrow. Okay, so you just don't have any position overnight. That's what's called the day trading. Okay, and there are benefits and the minuses and pluses. Okay, so let's look at what we have. What trading, as you can see, we have here a section trading, and this is all products which are based on artificial intelligence for stocks, ETF, Forex, and crypto. We have end of day signals, so that means they're kind of on a longer period of time, and this is real time. Okay, let me give you the introduction first here, and it's going to be easier to understand the day trading. Okay, so first thing what you should do is to really maybe read let me do like that. I will show you where you can find the ebook, which you can read either online or you can download that. Okay, so we have several books. This is a pattern search engine. Okay, this is a trend predictions. It's a different webcast I give. Some of the ebooks about stochastics, moving averages, and the 401k plans. Okay, so if you click here, you can read this online and understand quite a lot of patterns. Okay, there's a lot of good stuff here, and then there are definition of this pattern and the psychology of these patterns. Okay, so I'm not gonna do all of them today. Okay, but I will show you some of them, and I will show you how to get yourself familiar with these patterns. Okay, as you can see, these are all patterns we identify in the marketplace. We did not invent those patterns. They have their own psychology. So for instance, some people know well that type of channels. Okay, then rectangular bottom is also type of channels. This is also well-known cap and handle. Okay, what else known? That head and shoulder bottom. I showed you that one. Okay, but let's try and look at this one, for instance. We here describe a structure. Okay, so the way to identify that cap and handle pattern, what you do and what you think is as follows. The stock goes up, kind of hits particular level, and there are sellers trying to sell enough to kind of push that down. But the situation is that there are more buyers than sellers, and the stock goes up. Kind of stops approximately here, maybe above one or a little bit below. It doesn't matter, approximately at the same level. Then there is a kind of bounce back. And then here we have that terminology. At this moment, we're really having a merged pattern. Okay. Then we have statistic calculated that from that point, we're already going to show you that pattern that we identified because it kind of goes up. And then this is a breakout point. If it breaks, then from psychological standpoint, you see what happens. The buyers which were buying here waited for down, then bought it on a dip. You see, remember I showed you very basic from a dip. But to get to the dip and buy on the dip, there are different school of thought. Some people trying to buy it right here. The probabilities I will show you much worse than right here. So if you wait till this point, you're actually going to get much better statistics and results on this distance. So this is entry point, this is exit point. So we can calculate this point and just give it to you, okay? Now let's look at the statistic, okay? So when we calculate all of these patterns, then we attach like a confidence level. How confident artificial intelligence with all the data it provides, right? So if you have a confidence level 60% and the distance to target 5%, okay, now you understand what's distance to target. That's the gain, that's the profit you can get, okay? But that's a distance it has to reach, right? Or it can be called like potential profit, 5%, okay? So then what we did, we identified these patterns for the past like 5 years, 3,000, almost 3,500, okay? And then 66% with this confidence and with this distance to target reach the target price. 66%, it's not bad actually, but let's assume you're gonna wait for a better confidence, 70%. You see, the number of patterns we discovered like that, okay, is now 3 times less, right? Then what happens with the confidence 70%, you have 73% reach the target price, okay? And then with the 5% potential gain. So if I say, okay, what if I wanted to get 7% on a trade, then boom, I have 74 and the confidence 70. So when you want to test where and how comfortable you are with the pattern, you always can look at this data. If you want to reduce the number of patterns, then it is 451, and 78% reached the target price, and only 20% did not reach 7%. Okay, if it is 5, then 76. Okay, what if I reduce 10%? Okay, so but very few of them you could find, right? So then, as you can see, this is all the trades which were made in the past, and that way we collected all the information about these type of patterns. Okay. So if you go and study that, you can study that in ebook, or you can study that in right here with the statistic. Because what matters is the statistics. It's like a baseball, basketball, any game. You don't have a player who can give you 100%, which is impossible, right? So let's look at the head and shoulders. It also has a shape and also has some particular depth and the width. And then that way, we also have a psychology on the market, which is going on here. It's kind of up, down, test at this point. And then when they're trying to test the same point, then it turns out there are more buyers than sellers. It's going up. So from that moment, we call it emerged pattern, and this is confirmed, okay? I didn't show you that data. Look, if with the same, this is a confirmed, and the previous data was with the confirmed patterns. Let's assume I'm gonna switch it to emerged. You see, that's immediately the statistic goes down, okay? So if it is emerged and confirmed, 55 versus 68, okay? Some question. Any Elliott patterns? No, we do not study here Elliott pattern. We here really work with the psychology of the markets. These are patterns very well proven, and pretty much serious traders look and find this type of patterns. It's a possible to backtest them. Maybe sometime in the future we will include Elliott wave patterns, but not at this moment. Okay. Here, as you can see, I can do it 70% confidence, 77. Okay. So when you get familiar yourself with the concept of a confidence level and then statistics, and this is odds of success, pretty much 77%, which is, it's not bad data, it's really good data from mathematical perspective, okay? So then you will say, okay, I want to work with some particular patterns, I trust them, I like them. So for instance, you say, okay, I like channel, okay? And a lot of people work with channels, but how to find them? Practically impossible to find patterns on stocks, about 5,000 stocks, 1,000 ETFs with a cover, okay? And wow, look, there were 91%, but very few of them with the 60%. Let's reduce it 50%. It's also okay. We don't have them a lot. So let's look at the rectangular bottom. So a lot of people look for this type of channels and rectangular shapes. And again, if it breaks, it goes up, okay? It's a bullish pattern, confirmed. Let's look at the emerged. You see that how quickly it drops down, okay, when it is emerged. When it is confirmed, that's much better, 70, 74, okay. So now, let's try to use that system for the end of day setups, okay. So what we have here is instant pattern search, where you can plug in anything you have, okay? Then this is advanced search, where you set up, let's say it is crypto, I will put stocks, because we talk about that. If you put both check boxes, it's gonna be search both stocks and cryptos. You can check ETFs, okay? Now, here you can set up a 52 or more percent of your confidence level. Price range, let's assume you don't want to have very expensive stocks. And then you can say up to like between zero, let's say you want to kind of above $17. Then if you really want to kind of risk more, you click here emerged, but if you don't, then you confirm. But if you find this type of emerged in advance, you can bookmark them and really follow them if it fits your criteria, okay? So here, as you can see, I identify the stocks, and here, as you can see, it's all, here it says all. What I can do, I can edit that. Let's assume you want to find patterns only in some subcategories, okay? And then you want to unclick and say, okay, I want only banks. And then there's a different banks, major banks. Let's say this one. And if you save, then it's going to be searching only in the specific industries, okay? Then tickers. Here you can identify specific list of tickers. The AI is going to be searched for patterns, okay? Then how to put it here, there are different ways. Either you type it, let's say Agilent, you save, and then you save, and that way it's going to be searched only for Agilent, okay? But there are other ways of preparing this list. I will show you, okay? Because there was a question about scanner or screener. Here's the thing that let me show you. Here you see this is all the signals we're generating for free based on the some classical indicators, okay? That's one thing to learn about our system. Another thing which is important is that you can make a paper trades, okay? And then instead of losing money on the market, if you really don't know how to trade yet, or you just trying to test our system, then test it with the paper trades, okay? So if you click here, then you can, let's say, this company been making some headlines, right? You can sell short, okay? So if you click here, boom, and then it went to the paper trade. In order to see your paper trades, you go here, see my paper trades, and let's see what's going on with my paper trades. It's been trading for the last month. I traded from like 11.11, right? On the paper trade, just making 22,000, okay? And that allows me to understand how I trade. As you can see, average duration is 8 days. As you can see, average profit about 1,100, average loss 600, which is really good, really good ratio. Okay. Now let's go back. Okay, and then see what can be done. Okay, so here, as you can see, you can identify bullish and bearish patterns, and then let's say you click here, this company, Head and Shoulders. Look what we provide for you. Okay, so it is a bearish pattern. As you can see, the confidence 68%, the distance to target 4. Breakout, you see, we always show you entry price, and then if you sell it short, it can get to the $77.78, and then we really show you what's going to happen and what is the statistic for this particular company was for this particular Head and Shoulder pattern. Okay? And these are all end of day activities. Okay. Now let's look at the things which can be done with the day trading. Okay. So in order to make day trading from here, let's see, click here, make my paper trade, sell short, click, and it's going to open a position right the beginning of the opening bell. Okay. So now I'm just testing the system without losing any money. Okay. Now let's go back. Okay. And how would I prepare myself for the day trading activities tomorrow? Okay, so here's the screener. So you go screener home. Okay. And I'm gonna take the entire market. We cover almost 4,000 stocks. And then this is a technical analysis. This is a fundamental analysis. We have our own rating systems. This is a classical fundamentals if you wanna pick and use them. And then you can create your own filters, okay? So let me show you the simple way of using, okay? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a phase score, okay? What it means, a phase score? It means fundamental analysis score. Green, it's good, right? And I don't wanna trade them tomorrow because most likely market is gonna jump up a little bit, and then I'm still gonna prepare for the market going down. I see this is all stocks which are weak, okay? All of them red. And what I can do, this is odds and ratings, okay? And what I can do, let's say, I will be thinking to get all overvalued stock, okay? See, this is evaluation. Now, you see number of stock was reduced from almost 4,000 to 1,400. These are all stocks which are overvalued, right? Then I'm gonna say, okay, well, what if I'm gonna take outlook, which is gonna be negative, okay? Let's see, I have 284 now, okay? And, and now I can continue to reduce based on fundamentals, but I also can reduce that list based on the technical analysis. I can do the following. I can say, okay, show me all overbought, okay, stocks for the last 03 days, okay, boom. So now I have a list of 19 stocks which were overbought, okay? So that means there's a good chance they're gonna go down, they are overvalued and overbought. And from that perspective, tomorrow they might be going down even more, okay? So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to do the following. I'm gonna click here. So now it's selected. And now I'm showing you a really good trick. You can move any list you've selected, either in Screener or in any other module to any other module, okay? So for instance, here, if you have it here, then what you can do tomorrow, you can click it here and say, I want to move them to intraday patterns, okay? You click here, and I will show you another module. Okay. So now let's look at this module. Now, instead of looking at the pattern search engine, as you can see, this is a pattern search engine at the end of day for stocks, ETF, cryptos, and Forex, right? This one is only for stocks and ETFs and gives us quite a lot of interesting things. It gives us patterns on 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30, 1 hour, 4 hours, and 1 day. Okay, so from that perspective, 1 day is somewhat included here. Okay, so what we see the same type of patterns, and you can read about these patterns. Let's say bearish patterns. Okay, and what is that? It is some kind of a channel down. And then you can read about this pattern. You see channel down. Okay, you click here and you can read about that one and where theory says the breakout point and the target price. Okay, so now how are you going to use it? So what happens, I did the following. I found at any given moment all patterns which I believe which were what? Oversold and they are overvalued, okay? And now, as you can see, I found these patterns. And then let's look what I have. I have the same structure. I have a confidence level, and then I can check my statistic right here, okay? If you don't know about the pattern, you read again here about the pattern, okay? So let's see, we know all about what, NVIDIA, okay? As you can see, it's pretty good channel down, and then let's look at the statistic. There was not a lot of patterns, and the statistic even 40%, confidence level 21. It is maybe not greatest, but it's a possibility, okay? Then if I want to make a paper trade, I again just want to check the system whether or not it's gonna be confirmed. My idea, I'll just sell it short at the moment, and then when the market is working and open, then I can do the paper trade real time and check whether or not everything is good, right? Let's see what else. Quite a lot of these patterns. Okay. So what I'm gonna see that all patterns which were created from the list from the screener. Okay. Let's assume you don't want to pre-select a particular set of tickers. What you can do, you can set up and then that list is going to be much wider. Okay. Now this is a real-time feed, which are going to be changing pretty much every minute, depending on how many stocks you loaded. Where you loaded, it's right here, customize. And again, you select your time frames. Let me remind you what is a time frame is. If you look at this particular point on any chart, you know a little bit about the candles. So it's pretty much 1 point, 1 candle, 5 minutes, okay? So let's see, 5 minutes, another. Okay, every point is 5 minutes. So if you want to remove some of these patterns, then you pretty much can reduce their number by managing the time frames. Then you can manage the list. So the same thing, you see nothing in these categories. And then I'm looking for from this particular set, which was entered before, okay? So you can say, okay, how I can trade only, let's say S&P or like the Dow Jones, okay? So let me show you. So what you do in order to create another list, you do like that. Let's say indices, okay? Here's NASDAQ 100. I will do a simple one, Dow Jones Industrial here, okay? Now I have these stocks, okay? And let's assume I want to trade only Dow Jones Industrial and find the day trading patterns for pretty serious stocks, right? So what you do, you click here, you select 29 out of 29, okay? And then you copy that to the clipboard. Click here, you see copied. Now you go back to this list and then you do what you do, paste. Okay. Now all of them here, add, and that's a list is going to be added right here. Okay. So is that clear, right? So that way you're going to be adding 29 stocks to the list I had, and this is the list. I can just say add. Now all these stocks are added here. If I click save, now my feed is going to be working tomorrow with the list expanded with the Dow Jones Industrial. Okay. So as you can see, there are different ways to set up that list. You can go and set up it for all particular categories. ETFs, you see all ETFs are here. Pattern types are here. And then you can set up a push notifications. That way on the screen, you're going to see them. Okay, that way you have to allow these push notifications being on your screen, okay? So what I wanted to underline that it's like in a surfing, you have to have a big wave and then you find the really good opportunities on the smaller waves, meaning there is a psychology on the 5 minutes time frames and there is a psychology on the market. For instance, would I trade any bullish pattern on the day trading when the market goes down? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to find this type of patterns and then I will trade them because market goes down. And that way I will be in a much better shape than trying to find anything which goes in opposite direction of the market trends. Okay? So in order to identify the market trends, you always use, as you can see, we show you the trends. You see, that's what happened with the market today on where? On indexes, right? So you can find out what's going on with the industries, okay, on one day. And that's what the bloodbath on today. You can sort them either by alphabet or by gains. And that way you're going to be able to prepare any lists which you're going to be able to see tomorrow and they trade tomorrow. Okay. Um, Another way of the observing what's going on, for instance, we reduce that to 19. Okay. So what I normally do also, I can look at the scanner and then watch for them as if they've been traded, not in a paper trade, because I don't want to have a bad statistic in my paper trades. But let's say in the scanner, okay, I can move it to scanner. I'll talk a little bit about the scanners. Um, as you can see, we have a column here which is going to start collecting you gains or losses at the moment you get to the scanner. All these 19 stocks, if I press the button tomorrow, let's say 7 o'clock in the morning Pacific time, then it's going to be 30 minutes to the trading session, and it's got counting, and then I will see what's going on with my group. You can generate as many scanners as you wish, and that way you can observe what's happening. Okay. Obviously, there are other popular filters you can use. Okay, this is real-time stock scanners. Tomorrow, for instance, might be a small gap up. What it means it's going to go up. So what you can do, you can click here, and it's going to show you some stocks which are going to be doing gap up. Gap up is the kind of distance between closing that line. It was a close of yesterday, and that was opening of today. Okay, as you can see, that gap was pretty much closed in the market like that. There was a gap up, but that was closed, right? Was a small gap and it was closed immediately. That gap was there, and in these red days, quite a lot of gaps up were closed. Okay, so what you can do is follows. Let's assume tomorrow will be some opportunities to get these gap ups. Okay, so what do? You again click here. So now we have 10 tickers. You can have more, let's say 20, okay? So with the 20, I have now copied 20. So what I can do tomorrow when I have a gap up, market can jump up, but I don't think it's going to be sustainable. But I want to trade these gap ups tomorrow because that's going to be kind of questionable trades and they might all go down. Again, I'm looking at this blue activated field and I can move that and look at the patterns for this set in my intraday pattern feed. I can click here and now I see these tickers, and now our system looking for all patterns for all time frames right here. Okay, that's how easy it is. So I don't think you've ever seen anything close to that where there are so quick you can move groups of ideas to identify individual ideas. And here's real ideas to trade. As you can see, Moderna, it's right here, it's breakout. It gives you what? Entry point, exit points, distance. You still can make like 7% on this one, on this field going down. And that was opportunity to trade tomorrow, right? Okay. So we already have 15 minutes to the end of our webcast. Guys, please prepare more questions. There was one question I didn't answer. There was another one. Let me go. Okay. What is the best scan for day trading to get guaranteed 20 or 50 cents move in the stock? Okay, we're not looking at the 20 or 50 cents move, okay? We're looking at the distance to target, which we measure in percentages. So here is as you can see, 2%. If you're gonna do 2% every day, then it's a pretty good deal, right? As you can see, so how many? So it's on a different. You see, it's 3%. It is 70% move. Okay, on this stock, easily. Okay, let's look at this one. this one is 50% move, it's 5%. Okay, so that's the way I answer. We don't look at the cents, we look at the distance to target, which we measure in the percentages where you can make money out of particular value of the stock. Okay, let's look at other questions. So I did answer on Elliott wave patterns. No, we don't do that yet, but we might consider that in the future. I'm not a big fan of actually Elliott waves. There's some stuff which is difficult to explain, but any patterns are patterns. Just needs to we need to teach our AI system to do that. And I honestly tell you that our AI is being trained with a neural network, which is looking, calculating, doing backtesting at the same time. Okay, guys, why don't you give me more questions? I'm going to be happy to respond. Okay. Okay. How many stocks can intraday scanner analyze at one time? Scanner? Let me go. So if we have this, then it's not real analysis, just scanning. Okay. But what is important is that it gives you this P&L at the moment of entrance. Okay. I think somebody tested it's several hundred you can look at. Okay. But when you move from the point where, let's say, I moved here 19 to the scanner, I can move about several hundred. Okay. And see that. But when if you mean by scanner our pattern feed, then it could be all 4,000. You can move all 4,000 and they're going to be all there. And that way, I just don't know what you mean with this question. If you clarify, I'll answer. What is the most reliable pattern? It's a good question. You can actually look at the statistics here in this ebook, and maybe you will tell me. I can tell you that you should think the following way: what other people really know about the patterns? Okay, and I will tell you that people don't know a lot of them. But what is well known? I'll show you what is well known. That's what people kind of like. Okay, all people look for the cap and handle. They are, since people looking at this, that means they work for a lot of people. Okay, head and shoulder. Okay, I made a lot of money on flags. Okay, what is a flag? It's kind of pretty big up or down if it is bearish. So then there is a kind of a down flag, like a pennant, right? And then when it breaks here, it goes up. Okay, so what, if you want to ask my opinion, what I like is cap and handle. I like flags. I like head and shoulders. I like pennants. I like rectangular bottoms, rectangular tops. Then there's one, when it's a bearish, this one, dead cat bounce. You remember at the beginning of the webcast, I showed you trading on a dip? Because this is a trading on a dip, okay, dead cat bounce. As you can see, that's exactly what I showed you, trading on a dip and a down, right? So boom. So if you break that point, it's a really good trade goes. And then, as you can see, there's not a lot of them we found, but the statistic is good when you set up pretty high confidence level. Okay. What else I like? These triangulars are good, but you should be really careful with them because they can go either way. Some people showed me, and actually I showed them the following. Let me show you interesting stuff. There's a BTC, right? You know, it's a Bitcoin, okay? If you look, there are several interesting stuff going on. On June 1, there was a confirmation of the bullish pattern let's say like head and shoulders. And look, it's a good example actually of BTC. If you look at the head and shoulders, then it's a bullish pattern and worked out well. The confidence 65%, 19% potential gain. Okay. Then if I look at the, let's say, 3 rising valleys, then it's 21% possibility of jumping, but 21% of the confidence jumping 40%. Okay. And then I was kind of creating a theory that the BTC is going to jump up pretty soon because there were, so look how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of them confirmed on June 1. And all of them going to go up with a different distance to target and a different confidence. The most reasonable one was head and shoulders. But look what happened today. There was a bearish pattern showed up, pennant, right? So let's look at this one. And then we talk about that, and they say, how is that possible that there's a positive and negative? I said, most likely what's going to happen is that it's going to go down, but later it's going to go up. And that discussion actually took place, I think, yesterday. And then that's exactly what happened. It looks like the BTC went down and then might kind of test at the bottom, make money on the bottom, and then go up again because those patterns too strong, which you can use. Okay. So another way to, since you guys not asking more questions, I will show you one more thing. We have another 5 minutes. If I go to the very beginning, there is another tool which can help you to prepare for the trading, which is the trend prediction engine. Okay, if you want to day trade, you can prepare a list of some stocks. Let's say you want to have tomorrow only with the bearish predictions. Okay, so predictions are just kind of finding the real trend. Okay, so you see, this is some of the stock I identified without any patterns, looking at some other techniques and the training neural network about the possibilities. Okay, so what you can do is to also take these ones. Okay, and again, let's say we want to move 30 to the micromanagement, intraday pattern feed for stocks, ETFs. Okay, let's make sure I have here stocks, the confidence more greater than 60. And that way, I kind of anticipating that all of them are going to move down, and I move all of them tomorrow to see what's going on. Okay, so now I moved all the tickers, and now it's finding for me some bearish patterns, which are possibility to trade tomorrow. Tomorrow actually might be a positive day. And you can think, okay, my trading plan tomorrow is going to be bouncing day. And that way, I'm going to do it in actually an opposite way, okay? I'm going to say, okay, tomorrow is going to bounce up. That way, I'm going to click it here, unclick here. So that means trend prediction engine gives me now the best stocks which are going to go up, even though you see they kind of move down a little bit, right? But I can move all of this, let's say 30 or more. I can move up to 300 for tomorrow, looking for the positive bump. Okay, so again, move it here. I arrive to the same point where I'm here in instant pattern search. I'm now finding this one, the patterns, positive patterns. You can see I don't have hell of a lot, but I can get them tomorrow. Okay, you see, today was a bad day on these small time frames, and that's the beauty of this search. You see, it found all the patterns which were for this day, pretty bad last day as of today. Okay. So I think if you don't have, guys have questions, you can try what you can try. You can try to read the ebook. Okay, let me recap, right? So you can try paper trade. You can try our premium products. You can also try to trade for free, meaning without the premium products, out of the news feed. Okay, so what you can do, where's that thing? Somewhere, no. Okay, let me pick one and then go home. And then just the last 5 minutes, I will show you how to trade from the newsfeed for not buying any products. It's a classic. It is not based on the AI, so that means it is not as well trained. It is a classical indicators. Okay, as you can see, every news, every single news is having a hashtags. Okay, as you can see, there is a lot of hashtags. And then what you can do in order to use them, you can do the following. Let's check if it is, yeah, only stocks. Okay, so first thing you can say, okay, I want to check only biotechnology, click here and then search. So as soon as you search on the biotechnology, then let's see what we provide. On the left side, you see all other hashtags, okay? Then what we provide a very sophisticated group analysis. I typically talk about that on other webcasts. As you can see, we analyze how many, 373 stocks. So it looks like the biotechnology kind of moving down, okay? And then buyers versus sellers, approximately the same. We give group analysis. And then what I can do, I can say, okay, I'm going to add the technical analysis hashtags, okay? So then I will say, okay, what if I'm going to be using only RSI as a hashtag? So how many? Now I have 222. And then let's assume I'm going to say I'm going to look only at bearish stocks, okay? I have 192 stocks. And now this group analysis is given for 192 stocks, and all of them have signals without AI based on the specific indicator, which is RSI. So if you don't know what is RSI, you always find it here. You click here, boom, then you can read about RSI. Typically, it gives like zones, oversold zone. I'm sorry, this overbought zone. This is oversold zone. And what you can do, you can move all these 192 tickers to, let's say, finding the patterns to trade tomorrow, okay? You click here, boom. And now I moved 192 tickers to the search of patterns out of the news, which was generated by the classical RSI sell signal, okay? As you can see, now I'm prepared from a different perspective. What it means we started here. Where we started, you have to have some kind of a plan. And what is a plan? If you trade enough with our system and you know the news work for you well, okay? Where's my, you see? What is good about that, you see, this trade was made out of news. Okay, let me show you the close trades because it's a bloodbath everyone had. Okay, so you see, that was my idea. This idea came from scanner. Then from some we're building robots. This is from IPF. Okay, this is from news. I was trading from news.